Well, it's time to dig into the X4 here and see what our damage was. Hopefully not too extensive, and all it's going to take is a flushing, a cleaning, and we'll be good. I took the airbox off to show you guys. As you can see, besides being dusty, there is 0 water in our airbox. So that shows you that it did not get in from up here. But if you look way down in there, I know it's going to be hard with using the GoPro. Let me get you in. You can see there the splashes and the line somewhat, maybe. There you go. You can see that little bit of different color there in the line. That's where our water was in our intake tube. So how did it get in there? Well, this is a common issue with the X4. We'll go underneath and I'll show you how it got in. And of course, the snow's melting, she's dripping, so I'm probably going to get covered in all kinds of stuff and wet and cold. But anyway, here's the front of our Wolverine. We are going right into the center, basically. And you will see here in our skid plate, there's a hole right here. And above that hole, you'll see a tube right there. And you'll notice that tube is wide open and can allow water to get in. So that little drain tube there isn't supposed to be open like that. There's a little cap with a little very, very cheap and weak clip that holds that on there. And of course, some point of riding the other day, when I drowned this guy, that fell off. Now it might have been from riding through deep snow, pushed it off. It might have been when I broke through the ice and sank in the hole, it got pushed off. I don't know, but the thing is, it was off, and then trying to get in and out of that hole, of course, I was forcing water up into the intake, and it got sucked in to the engine. Now, like I said, this is a known issue with these X4s, and I had actually taken that weak clamp that holds that tube cap and replaced it with an actual hose clamp. But again, that's a plastic tube. There's really nothing much to grip there, so it must have worked its way free and fell off anyway. So you guys that have replaced that weak clip with a hose clamp, make sure you're checking that often to make sure that it's not coming loose, or you're going to wind up in the same boat I'm in. So what I'm going to do first is get my oil draining, and then I'm going to pop off my cover here and pull my spark plugs. We will see how dirty they are, and that'll be a good indication of how much water actually got into the motor. I'm hoping it was just enough to kind of suffocate the motor, to shut it off, and not completely fill the motor. She did puff out a big puff of white smoke, but again, I'm hoping just enough water got in there to kill it without permanently damaging it. I did try to start it again afterwards before I realized what was going on, and the motor's turning over, it's just not firing, so it's not hydro-locked at least. So let's tear it her, and we'll see what the damage is. Oh, here's another common issue of that stupid heat shield not sticking to where it should stick. Alright, let's clean up around these guys a little bit. I'll have to make sure to check my CVT too. I shouldn't have been deep enough to get into that. It may have splashed a little in there, but I definitely wasn't deep enough to get water in there. We need a 1.5 mile long extension to reach these puppies. They don't look awful. They're not coated in mud or anything. That's an encouraging sign. Again, she's not all covered in mud. Take a light. I need a scope is what I need so I can take a look down in there. We may have to go to good old Harbor Freight and pick ourselves up a scope so we can check out inside what the damage is without having to tear a bunch of stuff apart. Alright guys, I got the airbox off, and we did, as you can maybe see, we did get water clear up in. You can see the remnants. However, it does not look like an extreme overabundance. I'm going to try to get you guys to see this as best as I can into my throttle body here. We've got a little bit, you can see mud and water in there. Let me open my throttle plates up here so I can give you guys a look inside. And I don't know how well you'll be able to see in there, but she is not completely filthy. That is surprisingly clean in there. But this has got me hopeful, guys. I am having my wife stop at good old Harbor Freight on her way home from work today and pick me up a video scope so I can get in there and take a look at things. Fingers crossed, it's not gonna be too bad. So in the meantime, I'm gonna tear my airbox apart. It separates into two pieces, clean it up. I'm gonna work on cleaning out the tubes in here. I don't know if you can see way down in there. There's a pile of mud in there. All right, I have an absolute slew of pieces now. As you can see, we fully have torn into the X4 to get at everything. So right here is the problem. This little drain tube that's in our intake tube. It is situated in here so that it points forward and is right above this hole. Usually there's a little cap on here that has a little thin, weak clip that holds it in place, just pretty much just by friction. As you can see, this is completely smooth. There's no ridge or anything for that to grab hold of. So you can see how that thing can easily fall off. Now, like I said, I did take a little regular hose clamp and replace that thin clamp, but still, this is smooth plastic. There's really nothing to hold on to. So at some point in my travels that came off, and you guys can see that did nothing but funnel the water right into our intake tube. Here is our other side where that connects to. Look how thick the sludge is in there after that drained. And this intake tube, you can tell, was completely full of water. And unfortunately as well, you guys can, again, I don't know how well you'll be able to see in there. There is mud, at least a little bit of muddy water that did splash inside our head. You can see my valves there are covered. That one there, I don't know if you can see that very well. She's covered in mud. And I did get a scope. Unfortunately, Harbor Freight was out of the one with the 5.5 millimeter camera. The one I got was one with a 8 point something millimeter camera, so it won't fit down my spark plug hole. But if it made it past our valves there, then you know water made it into the cylinder. So that's where we stand with that. It is what it is. It happened. The sad part is this has happened to a lot of Yamaha X4 and X2 owners. And I don't know if Yamaha has done anything to address this issue yet. But I guess the thing to do now is to pop the old oil drain plugs out of this guy and see if we can get an indication of how much water we did actually get into the motor. Yeah, I'd say there's definitely some water in it, but I don't think it looks too awful bad. Let's pull this other one. Make a mess of oil all over. It's hard to tell, guys. It doesn't look awful. I can tell it's thin, and I definitely got water in there mixed in with it. Well, while I let the oil drain, I went ahead and cleaned up our throttle body, my fuel injectors, and my fuel rail. I might as well start putting some of this stuff back together, clean this stuff up as I go. And then once the oil drain, we'll top her off. We'll do a rinse cycle oil, meaning we'll fill it with some throwaway oil I got for cheap. We'll crank it without starting it, let that oil circulate, hopefully catch any stray water that might be in there. And then we will drain it again. I'm going to do that twice, change my filter, and then we will put the real oil in and see if we can start it. Well, here's what the inside of my secondary air box looks like, and we still actually have wet water running in there. So you can see this guy got filled quite a bit. You can see how much actually got sucked into our throttle body and then into our head. That is quite a bit. That is not a good sign. Alright, so we got all the old oil drained out of here. I put fresh oil in, unplugged my fuel injector, and cranked her over for a good little bit to circulate some fresh oil through. Also to blow out our cylinders because the spark plugs and coil packs were all off, so we could blow that out. And there was quite a bit that blew out of there. I drained that oil, put fresh in. We now have our spark plugs and coil packs back installed. Replugged in my fuel injector. So the only thing we have left now is to crank her over and see if she'll start. Oh, I tell you what, guys, I'm nervous. We'll see what she's going to do. Here we go. Of course, she's gonna have to be reprimed with fuel. Here it comes, I hear the fuel. I don't know, guys. I don't think she's gonna go. Fluttered. I don't think so, guys. Alright, well, since she didn't start, I got my compression tester hooked up into the one cylinder. We're going to do a compression test, see if we can assess. And I'm taking it that I have some top end damage for sure. We had spark, we had fuel, and it wasn't even attempting to start. It was spitting and sputtering. So I'm betting it's probably going to fail its compression test. Oh, but we're going to find out here. I got the fuel injector unplugged again. And I have my compression tester here into the first cylinder. Well, technically I don't know if that's the first or the second cylinder. But we're going to hold her wide open throttle and crank her. We should be reading 83 to 99. Somewhere in that range would be in spec. And unfortunately, we're not even... Oh, I cleared it. But we weren't even up to 50 PSI. That's not good. I'm going to check the other side and try again. See if it's any better. All right. Let's check cylinder number 2. Whoops. There goes my... beat my compression tester around. Throttle wide open. Well, we got up to 50 on that one, but it's still far out of spec. And I don't know if you guys could see that at a camera angle or not, but there was a bunch of crud still puffing up out of them cylinders, wasn't there? Yeah. Unfortunately. So guys, it's safe to say that the X4, well, she's done. Without doing at the least, a top end rebuild, she's not going to be running again. I heard back from the insurance today. They're sending off the pictures of everything I took when I tore this apart to the appraiser, and I'll wait to hear back from them. So we'll put it in their hands. It is what it is. Am I depressed? Am I upset? No. Again, it's a material possession. Things like this happen. There's nothing you can do about it. You guys just gotta deal with it, do the best you can with it, and just keep on riding. And that's what we're gonna do. Anyway, I gave you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what to do if you flood your machine. Hopefully you realize you flooded it before you continue to run it and start it to where you do major internal damages. You guys, you hit the water, you feel your buggy start to spitter and sputter like you're taking on water, get her shut down, because you can still save it at that point if you drain all the oil and stuff. So that's that, and we'll just move on from here. So thanks for watching this very uplifting and high-spirited video. Oh, poor X4. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, and as always, as I'm gonna do with the X4 down, in some way, just not in the X4, keep on riding.